Hey guys, this is Dominic from Team Pie for Life here at the South Park, Pennsylvania Regional, and I'm here with
Kevin Silva from Playmakers.
And how did you do today at the regional?
I got 24th place with Madolche.
Madolche's in 2019.
Yes.
So I'm sure a lot of people are going to be very interested to see your deck list because there's a lot of Madolche fans out there.
Yeah, I actually been playing the deck since release. So since the cards were originally came out, I've been playing the deck. So for me, this is like my bread and butter and my favorite deck. Next to Six Samurai, of course, but that deck I had to put to rest, unfortunately. This deck has been alive and kicking, and it's the reason why I keep playing.
All right, well, let's get into the profile.
All right, so first we're going to start with the bricks of the deck. So we're going to start with Pudding Cess. Unfortunately, a necessary evil. Every time for some reason, she's like glued to my hand. Every time, like almost every game, every match, I have at least opened with her once. It is terrible. But every time I look back, I'm like, you know what? I can't be mad. So play double mess and gelato. Again, every match I have opened with him at least once, and it is frustrating. If you open with any two of the brick cards, you will lose the duel, unfortunately. But he's a necessary evil because you have to special two of them just to go plus in your main combo.
Okay.
And then, of course, you play one Chateau, one Ticket. These are the ratios you got to play now because you got to be very conservative with your Chateau. You can't just shotgun Chateau, pump up your guys. You got to use it when you know you're going for game or when you know you're going to have full control. Ticket is that plus card. If you really got a bad card, it'll get you out. But honestly, this is really mainly for just like the OTK and just to, keep more control on the board.
I gotcha. So with this deck, do you like to go first or second?
This is definitely a going second deck. If you make me go first, if I don't open up my going first combo, it'll be very difficult for me to actually win. I think I won every dice roll.
Oh, well, there you go.
Except my last one. Actually, no. I won every dice roll but two, and the two that I lost, my opponent chose to go first. So it worked in my favor. And then I think after I beat my opponent, he still chose to go first, which was great. So
there you go.
Hey, as long as you're going second, you got the game. If you open up your right combo cards and right board breakers.
All right. Well, seems like it worked in your favor then.
Yes. So I'm going to start with the deck core. So
okay.
Obviously you're going to play triple Petting Cessor. She is she's your most important starter if you have no monsters in grave. Hopefully you don't draw any hand traps. But she's important. She literally is like, she is what enables a lot of what Madolche can do right now. Because you just special her out either from your hand when you have no monsters. It was really cool. If you have no monsters in grave, you can special her. And what I've been doing was like activate effect. In response, it would say no. Then I would chain like Twin Twister or something and pop stuff, pitching a monster, and her effect can still resolve. So that has always been insane. It's been fantastic. Sometimes I would, which you'll see later in the profile, I'll special Pankratops. Won't do anything with him. Activate her effect. Then I would say any response no, and I'd be like chain Pankratops, pop one, and then I could Twin Twister the other ones, and it'll ensure that she's got a safe landing so that hey, she'll go through. Or like let's say I do Pankratops, target a card, then they might call by the grave hit, and I'll Twin Twister hit the other ones, and that actually came up a few times. So this is I like doing that with this card.
And this is a newer card, right?
Yes, this is a newer card. She came out in Savage Strike.
Okay.
So this is definitely a newer card, but it's great because also she's a really good special summon target with Hoot Cake or Angeli. So when you special her, you mainly want to go and grab Pudding Cess. So what she does, she'll special it, bring down the level by 1, and then right there you can start making your rank 4 Xyz plays right off the bat. And with Pudding Cess as material, once you're done with your rank 4 play, you go and you put on Chocovala mode, and then you just plus like crazy from there. So that's the first starter. Second starter is Madolche Angeli. She is the best starter of the entire deck. If you open with her, if they don't stop her, you will have OTK. If they can't stop this, you'll have OTK as long as you're able to, as long as the board is safe. She just tributes, boom, gets either this out or you can get out Hoot Cake and just keep going off. Ideally, unfortunately, going her and Hoot Cake and then banishing her isn't really the optimal play. Normally you want to go her, get this to get Pudding Cess, so you want to just go her into these, and then you start going into your other plays, and once she's in grave, it makes your other plays so much easier to do. But definitely, she's the best starter of the deck. If you want to open her all the time. And unfortunately, Call by the Grave hits her, and that is something that really hurts, and that's one of her biggest weaknesses.
Okay.
Next, we got Stratos of the deck, as everybody likes to call her. So we got Madolche.
Yep.
So she is the original searcher. She just normal summons or flip summon, and you search a Madolche monster from the deck. So this has been great.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, very straightforward, but what you always do, if you have no monsters in grave, this is also a full combo as well. You normal her, you get Petting Cessor, and then you just go off. Because you have no monsters in grave, you just go. And it's fantastic. I like opening with her when I don't open my monster hand traps, but aside from that, she's still pretty good. She's necessary at 3. You need it for consistency.
Understandable.
And then the final, and my personal favorite, is Hootcake.
He's definitely one of my favorites.
He is my favorite because he doesn't really care. He will, if you have monsters in grave, he'll clean up the grave for you, and he'll get a monster from the deck, which most of the time will be her.
Right.
So when you get her out, you get Pudding Cess, and you just do your combos again, just as usual. But he's my favorite. Some people do play him in builds with 2, and I find that absolutely insane. I don't know why you're playing 2 of this card. This card used to be the original power play card of the deck, because I believe he came out before Angeli, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so he was really the original card of the deck that really made the deck kind of push it to the next level. So I remember playing this way back in the day. This was really good second turn play. You play like Effect Veiler back in the day, or like Maxi, and then you would just banish and you would just go off, right? But now he's got a lot of things to stop him, like you can stop him with Ghost Spell, you can stop him with Ash, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But he's my favorite. And also, he is a necessary evil for this guy, because if you didn't have him in the deck, he can't get his searches. So he's definitely needed.
Right.
And I think at 3 is just enough. 2, I sometimes find that, because I was testing it with 2 before, I sometimes find that I'll always be missing the 3rd copy.
Fair enough.
And now we're going to go on to the hand traps. So I play triple Ash Blossom.
Pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, very self-explanatory. Hits a lot of stuff in the meta these days. And then my favorite hand trap, Ghost Bell.
How did Ghost Bell work for you today?
Ghost Bell, I think, is insane. I personally feel like Ghost Bell is on par with Ash Blossom. I know that sounds crazy, but I think she is. It's for the simple fact that this deck has a strong weakness, which is Called by the Grave. This will hit Called by the Grave and will protect your Angeli. Not to mention, this hits a lot of things in the meta. So when you're going up against Orcust and they do that Symbol Skeleton play, boom, this stays there. If you're going up against Lunalights, they do the Tiger play, boom, this stays there. Or you wait for the Meriton to try and bounce it back, it stays there. This stops a lot. It also comes up in very interesting interactions against Sky Striker, to where, like, let's say they're trying to do Metal Foes Fusion, and you know that they bricked because they have 3 spells in grave and they're not activating Engage, and they're trying to activate Metal Foes. You can just say, all right, well, I'm just gonna Ghost Spell you instead of Ash, because I'll hold on to the Ash for your potential Engage if you're trying to bait me.
Right.
So this is fantastic. Also stops. Hercules base, stops Kagari as well.
Yep.
Is insane. She also stops if you go up against Invoke, which I didn't see any. She also stops Invocation. She stops so many things. Thunder Dragons. She also stops Hawk. I think it's too good to pass up on her. Stops also Reborn and random things too.
Right.
Next hand trap is Ghost Ogre. I played 2. Reason I played 2 is because I don't like her at 3. I don't always want to see her, but when I do need her, she's usually there. She hits random things here and there, but with like a lot of destruction protection, she seems to me to be more. She seems to be less useful than Ash and Ghost Bell a lot of the times. So I feel like at 2 it's fine. It's just hoop cake food. That's really all I look at them as.
I got you.
Sometimes, to be honest, most of the time I've just been pitching her for Twin Twister. So
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do
just to
sometimes.
feed Hoot Cake, he gets hungry.
Right.
Other hand trap I play is triple Impermanence because this is needed. I play this.
For sure.
I play this over Veiler because it also does not conflict with Petting Cessor, and negating columns is super important.
Yep.
Especially if they hit you with Floodgates.
It's nice too because if you were playing Valor, that would be a monster that
Yes.
potentially is engraved.
Monster is good for Hoot Cake. Monster is bad for Petting Cessor. You got to play a ratio where you can kind of get a little bit of both.
Right.
And then finally, I play Triple Phantasma. To be honest, I think I only went up against him in my Sky Striker match, which I bricked. He helped. He puts back the bricks, but honestly, he did not come up aside from that one game. Aside from
it's
that,
very situational card.
I'll be honest. Every single time he was in my hand, he was a pitch for Twin Twister. That's all he was. He was a pitch for. He was a very expensive pitch for Twin Twister. But shout outs to my teammate Dennis for lending me these. So I really appreciate that. Now, move on to, I guess, removal. So I got 2 Twin Twisters.
Yeah.
I feel like 3's too much, 2's the right amount, 1's not enough.
Right.
1 hit like annoying stuff like mine and all that.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just
you
good
definitely
for back
lose
row
to
removal.
mine.
Yes. Oh no, this deck will lose to mine. And then obviously Triple Call by the Grave. You want your plays to go. You don't want to get hit by Ash. You don't want to get hit by Bell. You don't want to get hit by Valor. Any of that. You want this to just stop.
Right. So is that it for main?
Almost done.
Oh,
Next
got
we
some
have more removal.
Okay.
We have Pankratops, Triple Pankratops. He's like a security guard. Usually when you brick, you special him, and he kind of protects you, so it's pretty good. I like to just use him as a kind of more or less disruption on my opponent's turn, as well as, hey, I'm just going to poke at something and take something out. So he usually takes out 2 things, which is great. Just 1 card removing 2 cards is fantastic. And then we have a card that removes much more than 2 cards a lot of the times, which is Triple Even Dash. So this came up in this came up in my True Draco matchup and my Guru matchup, both games, which was fantastic. Because those are the matchups you want this to come at. You really want this to come in when you're playing up against really heavy backer or anything like that. Just obviously this card is very self-explanatory. Just clear out the field, make it safe for your monsters to go. I know this is an OTK deck, and people say this is like, you really shouldn't play this in an OTK deck, but sometimes if you clear out the field enough, you can create a control board with Teacher, and that really helps a lot.
I gotcha.
And that is it for the main deck.
40 cards?
This is actually 42. Because it's
42?
very
Okay.
tight. I really wanted to keep it at 40, but wanting to squeeze in the other Ogre, wanting to squeeze in the Phantasme. There were times where if I was playing 2 Ash, 2 Go spell, I just didn't see them often enough. But playing them at 3, I saw them just enough. I saw them most games, except for my first game where like I was playing against Sky Striker. I didn't see a single hand trap, except for Phantasme. And when he came in, he was way too late. I used him once. It was nice. I put back a brick, only to draw the other brick. So it wasn't as good as I wished.
I gotcha. Now, do you want to do side or extra?
We'll do the extra.
Okay.
So for the extra, I play 1 land for Linkus. I don't want this to get Widow Anchored. I like the 2 arrows that go down, and I just think he's pretty good generic. I don't want to play Lambda because Lambda doesn't, it says except for tokens. I want this to just be generic, blank, and I don't want to have to deal with tokens. So this
Fair enough.
definitely helps. It also helps if they, let's say for example, throw an Ibli at me and I just normal go into this, or if I don't want to crash it, let's say I do need the arrows or whatever.
I gotcha.
It helps. Nightmare Phoenix, self-explanatory.
Right,
Back row.
good generic link.
BLS. Now, this didn't come up here at this regional, but it came up at other events, and this was fantastic, because normally when you brick, you'll probably be sitting on Pankratops or probably like Phantasme or something, and like maybe a hand trap or 2. It's very helpful because sometimes you just want to create a boss monster to create better delay than just sitting on Phantasme or sitting on Pankratops. Sometimes just creating this, pumping them up. It's very difficult for some decks to out it, like Dinos as an example. Have a hard time outing this, depending on their build. So you really gotta, call it right with this card. I personally really like having one of. You never know when you need them.
Okay. We'll try to speed up Lewis since they're kicking us out.
No worries. Next is 1 Mega Fleet.
Yeah.
Didn't come up this event, like came up in other events many times. Every time I play Cyber Orcus, it was just fantastic.
Right. Good removal card lately.
Yes, one Levier. He's just always been a favorite of mine.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't come up this time, but when he does, he wins me the game. So I just personally like him.
The deck's been playing Levier forever, too.
Yes, so for me, I just kind of have to play it. I play one Exciton Knight just for those back row decks whenever they try and like stop my Petting Cessor. So I would summon the Madolche effect, special Petting Cessor, and if I use Petting Cessor's effect, and let's say they ash it or they stop the effect, because it's part of the effect to lock into Madolche monsters, you're not locked in, so you can go into Exciton Knight and nuke the field. So like you already clear, you kind of bait out as much as possible. And even if this card gets negated or stopped, it's literally just bait. That's all he is. It's just bait negate. That's really what he's for.
Right.
Then onto the Madolche extra deck monsters. Just 2 fresh to starts. I really don't like this card. I would like to play it at 1, but she's necessary at 2, unless they come out with a better like 4 Madolches. You play 3 of the Queen, because she is the boss monster.
Yes.
She's just non-target, removal 2, and recycle.
Yep.
You play 2 teachers. This is actually one of my favorites. I really wish she would come in foil. Honestly, she is just amazing in matchups like Orchist, Salamangreat, Sky Striker, because she just plays with her opponent's graveyard, and she can also recycle hand traps when the field spell's up. So if the field spell's up, because the field spell says if a monster in your graveyard goes back to the deck by the effect of a Madolche monster, you put it in your hand, you can recycle things like Kaijus, your field spell, hand traps, Pankratops. It's insane. I've done things where I've recycled my Cosmic Cyclones, Twin Twisters, Call by the Graves, just so it's like I'm playing more of that card, and it's fantastic. If I could put her at 3, I definitely would, but there's no room. And then you play 2 Chocoala modes. This card is just insane. She, with the field spell, becomes a 3k beater, and she just enables the main combo, which is just, you just spam the field, and you pretty much just swing for game. You spam the field, clear the field, and swing for game. It is insane.
Right. So, we'll go through the side deck real quickly.
We'll go through the side deck real quick. Fortunately, side deck is very basic. So you play triple Artifact Lancia for very self-explanatory, Orcus, and anything that really banishes. Good against Boke too. Triple Gamma Seal for removal.
Yep.
You just don't want to sit on too many negates and not being able to get rid of them. Things that are problem monsters definitely helps get rid of them.
Yep.
Triple Dark Ruler no more, because again, monster effects are bad. You don't like monster effects.
Yep, for sure.
Then we got Triple Cosmic Cyclone. I actually forgot mine at home, so I had to pull these out from my binder and put them in my deck. So I was looking at my side deck and I was like, oh no, I forgot my Cosmic Cyclones. But fortunately, I had some in my foreign binder, so it was nice. And then finally, 3 red reboot, which this card did come up in my last match against Guru, and it was just fantastic. And it's just self-explanatory. OTK decks want to always side this all the time at 3. You want to always put these size cards at 3 because you want to see them. You don't want to put them at 2 to maybe see them, or 1 to kind of see them. You want to always see this.
Right. Exactly. All right. Thanks for the deck. Any shout-outs?
Yes, definitely. So I want to shout out my team Playmakers. So I actually have not slept. I was the one that drove my teammates here. I drove 6 hours.
Oh, jeez.
And I am exhausted.
At least you got your invite out of
yes,
it, that's
I
for
did.
sure.
But definitely, I'm very grateful for my team, being supportive, so really appreciate them. Want to also shout out my friend Steve, aka King Tritonus. He, shout outs to him for telling me to play Money Dragon. Even though it didn't come up, I did feel safe having him in my hand, so really appreciate that. Also shout outs to my friends, Kayla, Dean, Gothic Sushi, those are my friends. Shout outs to them for being supportive and kind of dealing with me playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And not talking to them often. But they understand. They were like, hey, you can do it. Just keep going. You got this. So really appreciate those guys as friends.
All right. Well, thank you again for your deck profile. Congratulations on your invite with Madolches in 2019.
Yes.
And thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. This is Dominic signing out. And remember, Pi for life.
Also